we've got a new exciting product that's just arrived. A picture of our new antenna system covering 6 meters, 2 meters and 70 sems. And I can tell you that my spy radio that's been built for me is progressing very well indeed. Well, hello and welcome once again to the Waters and Stanton video channel. I'm pleased to advise you that we've now got the new Icom AH-705 Auto ATU in stock. Yes, it's finally arrived. So let's take a look at what you get in the box. So that's the AH-705, as you've seen in the pictures there. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. That's my next task, and I shall be doing that over the next few days. But just to refresh your memory, it covers 160 meters through to 6 meters. The only proviso on 160 meters is that it needs an antenna 30 meters long, or at least a length of wire. But on the other bands, 80 meters through to 6 meters, it will function quite happily on a length of wire 7 meters or longer. There is another precaution that they, or another warning they give you. Don't have an exact half wavelength of wire on the band you're operating on. And that quite clearly is because there's a very high impedance there. So avoid a half wave or multiples of half waves on the band of operation. Otherwise, it looks great. So you can run out a length of wire and plug it into the tuner, or you can feed a coax system. Of course, it will feed end-fed wire or coax system, which is great news. It is battery operated. They do mention that it should be alkaline batteries. Now, I'm not quite sure why that should be. It may be because alkaline batteries are very good where the current drain is low. And the current drain on this is only 1 milliamp, unless it is tuning. When it's tuning, it's 300 milliamps, but that would only be for 2 or 3 seconds. So on standby, the battery drain is incredibly low, and it may be that alkaline batteries are better when they're going to be used there long term. I shall find out when I test it. And they also, of course, make the point, quite rightly, that if you're not going to use the tuner for some while, take the batteries out. So there we are. So be interested to try it. It looks promising and quite excited really about that. So as soon as I've had a chance to test it, I will report back and let you know how well it works. Now, I'm sure many of you will be aware that we stock the dual range of antennas. These are a range of Yagi antennas that are predominantly VHF and UHF. They do actually do some HF antennas as well, but we don't currently import those. But the VHF and UHF antennas can, despite the name, are either single band or dual band. Now, Mike G3SED has installed a complete dual antenna system for his VHF and UHF operation. And I've got a picture here, I'll show you. You can see the 6 meter Yagi at the base, which is, I think, is 7 elements. And then he's got a 2 meter Yagi above that. And above that, he's got a 70 sems Yagi. So it's quite a system. The great thing about dual antennas is they come with very copious instructions. Everything is labelled, and the most time-consuming part that I found when I erected my or installed my 2 meter 70 sems dual Yagi was unpacking it. It was so meticulously packed and everything was carefully wrapped, and it took me quite a while to actually take all the bits out of their bubble wrap and so forth. But brilliantly made. As I say, copious instructions, everything's labelled. You really cannot go wrong. So that's the dual antenna system, and the full range is on our website, of course. Now we come to the spy radio. Now I know many of you probably watched the 2 videos I did about spy radios. Well, there's a spy radio called the Paraset. Now the Paraset, strangely enough, I hadn't come across until recent times. It was used at the beginning of the Second World War, and it was probably the first clandestine radio that was used during that time. And then it was replaced by the B2. Now the B2 was a more advanced transceiver. It was a superhet. But the Paraset was interesting. The Paraset is a 2-valve regenerative receiver and a single valve transmitter using the good old 6V6. And it had an accompanying mains power supply. Very few of them have survived. And I think the reason I hadn't come across it in my early days was because most of them were destroyed. And I understand there's only around about 20 of them that have survived, the original ones. However, I am having a copy made for me of the Paraset Mark 7. The copy is going to be slightly safer. There's all sorts of things that were a little bit dangerous with the original Paraset. I think one of the targets was to make the system or the transceiver as simple as possible, using as fewer components as possible. And I think most of them were actually built in the UK, but the production line was fairly small. One of the most dangerous things was the output of the audio valve, because it was all valve. The output audio valve was coupled via a capacitor to the headphones, and the only thing separating the headphones from the 300-volt power supply was a capacitor. So quite clearly, if that capacitor failed, you're going to have 300 volts on the headphones, which of course in those days were predominantly metal. So highly dangerous. And I also believe that if you touch the PA coil, you were touching the 300 volt system. So it was dangerous. Whether there was any casualties, I don't know. Anyway, the interesting thing is that the copy that I'm having made for me is a lot safer. There's an isolation transformer for the audio and so forth, and I think the PA coil is no longer 300 volts positive. So there we are. I can't tell you where it's coming from, but I can tell you that it is coming, and it will be an exact replica of the original one, bar the dangerous bits. So there we are. And as soon as I get it, I will show you it, and I aim to put it on the air. It covers 80 meters and 40 meters, and it delivers around about 4 watts output. And you see, you've got a built-in antenna tuner. So interesting stuff. Going back to basics, a regenerative 2-valve receiver and a 1-valve 6V6 crystal controlled transmitter, CW of course. There we are. Anyway, as soon as I get it, I'll let you know and we'll do a video on it. In the meantime, thanks for watching this video. I hope it's been interesting. It's a bit newsy really, rather than products orientated. And of course, I shall be working on the AH-705 in the next few days. In the meantime, take care and enjoy your ham radio. Oh, by the way, if you want an AH-705, just give the guys a ring at the sales office. They'll put one in the post for you. Well, post, parcel force, whatever. 24-hour service normally. In the meantime, enjoy your ham radio. Take care. Speak soon.